Hey guys, welcome back to the second segment of the day to Speak My Truth with Alexandra Orlando. I actually met Alexandra through PanAm Sports. She was the media director and we just kind of clicked. Our personalities clicked really well. And researching more about her, I found out so much more than when I originally had been introduced to her. And she was a Canadian rhythmic gymnastics athlete. She represented Canada. She was a 2008 Olympian. That's when she went to the Olympics. She's a 5-time national champion. And she also competed at the Commonwealth Games and the Pan American Games. She's now the marketing director of PanAm Sports. She's an author and a motivational speaker. So please make sure that when you guys ask questions, there's a little question mark around a square. If you guys have any questions for Alexandra, please be sure to ask away. This segment is for you, and I really want to make sure that your questions are answered. So without further ado, I want to make sure that I get to Alexandra. Questions, add her in right away.
I've never actually been on one of these. I look okay. Everything is.
Oh yes, it looks fabulous. Well,
Hi,
the thing is, what happens is when you have people who have never been in front of a camera, they're like, they just be holding it up, and they're in darkness. There's light coming in. I'm like, okay, we need to work this all out.
No,
so
I was like, okay, I'll frame
it looks
beautiful.
You look fabulous.
You got me all dressed up today. I was like, okay.
Trust me, this is the only reason why I dress up is literally for these interviews. And so I'm testing out different hairstyles and outfits and makeup. My husband's like, wow, this is great. I'm like, yeah, of course, you reap the benefits.
Yeah,
of all this.
yeah.
I don't look like a muggle and a freaking troll every single day. That's great. But thank you so much for joining me. Thank you for doing this. And I invited you on the show because I feel like I don't know enough about you. I see you twice a year.
I know.
That. And it's
but
just
I love
like
you. Every time I'm like, I love her. I'm like, and we're always like working like in work mode and never like actually able to like catch up about real stuff. So I was excited. So thanks.
Exactly. I feel like whenever I'm with you, you're like, hey P, last minute, can you do this? And I'm like, yep. And you're like, okay, be here by 2:30. And I'm like, got it. And that's it. And it's just like so quick, and people are always pulling you in 1,000 different directions. So when I started doing research on you, I was like, oh my God, she is such a badass.
No.
How have we never had a glass of, this is my drink for today.
I know.
I finished.
I'm like very bored. I'm more boring. I'm like coffee all day. Hi.
That's all I've been having was coffee and water. And then it was like maybe a glass of red wine later in the day and like my regular Coors Light. And I was like, hey, hon, you want to open up a bottle of champagne? He was like, let's do it. And I was like, God.
If I didn't have another meeting, like for anybody who's like who I work with on here, I might have had a mimosa with me.
And that's what I'm saying. You always are busy. You're always working. And I mean, you've been super successful, and I love how passionate you are about it. And I really, really, I love your enthusiasm and your passion. It really does. It makes the athletes feel super important, secure, and like honestly supported. So I really thank you for that. And I'm so excited because I can finally highlight you and talk about you and your life, because I knew you were an Olympian.
Yeah.
I had no idea you represented Canada. Not even true. Yeah, didn't even know that. Yeah, why
born and raised in Toronto.
Yeah. How would we? No, not even a little bit. And then you were a 5-time national champion.
Yes.
And you do rhythmic gymnastics.
Rhythmic gymnastics, yeah.
Okay, I have to know this. Does everybody know this about you?
No, I don't think so. Like I've been retired for over 10 years now. So I feel like once you're retired over 5 years and then like beyond, it's just like if you move into like a different phase of your life. And I'm like not the most like showy with all of that. So I kind of feel like I don't really have it like promoted, but that's why
you're super humble. Super
Canadian,
humble. You are.
Very Canadian, of course. Yeah.
Oh my God. We need to Americanize that part of you, because you need to be like, Here I am.
Well, I'm living in Miami now. So like, this is the whole thing. I'm kind of like all displaced because like I've been living in Miami for almost 3 years now and like absolutely love it. My parents are actually American, so I am dual. I'm a dual citizen. I grew up in Canada, and now I'm like living down in the States. Actually, like for the first time, like real like full time, I've been living down there, which is nice. And I have family in Florida. I'm missing the sunshine. I am back in Toronto now for self-isolation.
Gotcha. I was going to ask you where you were. Those were my first questions, but then I just kind of jump in and everything. So I always forget to ask people, where are you?
So I'm back in Toronto. So when the virus started like escalating, like I travel so much for work and I'm all over the place because we work with the 41 countries of North, Central, South America, and the Caribbean. So we're always all over the place. And so I was in Guatemala and just realized, I started getting like a bad feeling about even just what's happening and traveling. And so I thought, let me go home. Like my parents are here, my sister, my husband, like everyone's here in Toronto. And so when I got here, we quarantined and then we stayed. Like it's week 7. Yeah. It's like week 7 or oh god, I don't even know.
Yeah, this is week 6 for me. This is week 6, so it might be week 7 for you. Yeah, it might be. Yeah.
And we've been like home, we're kind of in the middle. We were in the middle of a small renovation, so now we're like living in like a half renovated condo, which is
it's testing the wills, testing your spirit, testing everything.
Oh yeah.
Oh man. But I'm glad that you're safe. I'm glad that you're with your family and your husband and your loved ones. That's always really important. And I'm honestly glad that you got out of the situation and you were able to go back home.
Yeah, same. Like, like when everything like borders were shutting down, I was like, okay, like this is time to like be with family or be like as close as I can be to family with all the social distancing. But honestly, like, everyone's staying healthy. We're all just trying to like do the best that we can, like while we're inside and try to stay positive. And it's tough. It's tough some days, but like we're,
Oh, good. Well, I mean, I feel like everyone's sort of in the same boat as just the biggest thing I think is staying positive. Yeah. I mean, at this point, like, my coach is sending me workouts and I'm doing them, but I visit my fridge way too much and I'm just like, oh, well, don't care. I'm having champagne on a random Wednesday, like at 2 o'clock. Oh, well, like
you have to do what feels right. This is
and this feels right. It feels right.
If I've learned like one thing about like from this whole situation is like, honestly, like, just be like more self-aware. Like if you're feeling down, and like that's okay. If you're feeling one day, that's good. Like if you feel it's been like this emotional roller coaster, I feel like, for everybody I've been talking to. And the one good thing I think is like all of this, like all this connection, and that we're like you and I are connecting when maybe like we wouldn't have done this before, right? So
I love it.
Like talking with people we normally like maybe wouldn't, or we, like didn't have time, or we were busy. Like now I feel like everyone's like, okay,
super connected.
Yeah, and like this is what matters. Like we're all together. So if I need to lean on people, like I know that they're like there. I feel like everyone's been so like supportive through this, because I mean, especially for athletes that are training now and like looking ahead to the Olympics, it's just like I'm like I'm trying to put myself in your shoes. Like I'm obviously retired, and so my workouts are a little less intense than yours. However,
I still feel you. Trust.
I'm trying to keep the intensity level up, but mentally it's like such a challenging time. So it's like take it day by day, and every athlete I speak to, is just trying, to like set those, like not look too far ahead, just
daily goals. Daily goals. I think that's really important. And the great thing is that everybody that I spoke to has been safe and healthy. And I have to agree, I have FaceTimed my family more in this time than I ever have, because I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm really busy, I'm training, I'm driving, I'm going here, I'm going there. And so people ask me, like, are you going crazy? I'm like, absolutely not. I am adding to my resume. I have started painting, updating my house. Yeah. I am like, I've been fabulously enjoying this time. So I'm like, I'm safe, I'm healthy, my family's good. I'm just going to add to my resume. So I got to spend time with my husband, and we're just trying to get the house pretty much done. We live by the beach. So we're learning more about each other, and, you know, I'm cooking more. So I'm taking this as the positive. I'm taking all the positive away from
I mean,
this
if you don't have a talk show at the end of this, like, I don't know who else would be.
I know.
I'm like, how have you not been doing these lives before? I'm like, this is so great.
I know. Well, the thing is, somebody asked me before, and they were like, I think it's my cousin who I first interviewed last week, and she was like, dude, for you to just have like the balls to just go out there and just interview people live, I'm like, but this is what I want to do. This has always been what I've wanted to do. I love talking to people. I love finding out. It's like the 30 for 30, but in real lifetime. Yeah. Like every single day, that kind of lifestyle. And so I've watched, I mean, obviously Ellen and Jimmy Fallon, like the late night hosts and stuff like that. But then I started watching like sports. And like the Herd and Around the Horn and all these kinds of sports talk shows. And I really just loved it. I really do. And I'm so glad that people even say yes. And there's like more and more celebrities that I've reached out to. And I'm like, yeah, right. Like they're never going to answer. And I've gotten a few back, and they're like, oh yeah, you know, email it to my people and we'll get back to you. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. Yeah, but I'm like, you gotta keep it together.
If you don't like put yourself out there, right? Like you'll never know.
Yeah, and that's what I always close it with. As you know, I was like, closed mouths don't get fed. So we need to. you gotta reach out when you can. But again, I thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. My husband is dying to do Ken's Corner because he missed the last one.
I love that. I'm like, Ken, we've never met, but I like see you all over social media. I feel like I know you.
Yeah, so he's missed out on the last two because he's a teacher, so he's been, you know, doing so much with you know, the high school and stuff. So but he's very excited and ready for you. So he'll be here in a little bit. I'm ready. I do want to get to the questions and again, if you guys have questions, please just look down at the bottom of your screen. It is a question mark with a square. You guys can ask questions through there. But we're going to get started with my question. Yeah. To be honest, you just said it's been 10 years since you retired. Yeah. How has it been transitioning from professional life to, honestly, you're a successful author. You're a successful creative media marketing director for one of the largest organizations in the world. I mean, obviously you're successful on both like avenues, which is freaking incredible and amazing. Yeah. How did you make that jump? Yeah,
I mean, it's tough. Like gymnastics, like it's always a young sport. It will always be a young sport, just like the type of training and the competition and what it does to your body. So for me, I feel like, in a lot of athletes do this, we're always looking at our careers in those like 4-year cycles, like around Olympic Games. So if you know if that's your goal, like you're scheduling your whole life around, like for me, it was like 2004 or 2008. And I knew, so I always like deep down knew that 2008 was going to be like probably my final Olympics. And maybe I would say a little bit after, but in my head, I was like, this is probably the point in my career. So I kind of had set myself up already planning like the future. Okay. As I was like approaching into like the Olympics in 2008. I mean, I was super injured that year. So for me, you know, just getting through the Olympic Games, like standing was ultimately like at the end of the day, like my goal. Like I wanted to go out, compete strong, not be able to do my best that I could. And then for honestly after, it was like a relief for my body because my body was just crumbling. Like it was like, listen, it was like screaming at me to slow down, to stop what I was doing. And after I had like a bunch of surgeries and it took me like years to like recover. Wow. So for me, it was like, I was forced like right away to like shift into a different mindset, or else I think I would have just like let the weight of everything like just like crush me.
I'm sorry, how old were you when you retired?
21. Wow. I was such a baby. Like,
you were just able to drink legally.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Oh my goodness. That's where my mind goes. I'm so sorry. But my gosh. But when you were forced to grow up
so quick.
Very, very quickly.
Yeah, so quick. And so for me, I always knew I was going to have I was going to retire young. I didn't know, you know, an injury was going to kind of like force my hand a little bit, but I knew that I wanted to work in sport because sport had given me so much my whole life at that point as well. And I knew that like I wanted to use sport to impact other people. And, you know, I was a little bit of a troublemaker. I was always like very vocal, standing
Which
up
is
for
a troublemaker.
my team. Like I wanted more like, you know, athlete involvement. And so I knew that that was an area that I wanted to get into. And I just went, like I went to school and I like found a passion for anything creative.
Okay.
Marketing, media, communications, like that was something I was just like drawn to. And then I was searching for opportunities in the sport industry.
Okay.
And over the years, you know, you're networking, and I always tell athletes who are competing now,
Yeah.
and it's like the people you're meeting, the Olympic
become vital to your success after.
Yeah. Absolutely like critical was my networking. That was like my foot in the door to work for the Pan American Games that we had in Toronto in 2015. And that was my first job. Like right after school.
Oh, wow.
I went to the CEO and I basically was like, hi, like I'm an Olympian, Pan Am Games athlete. I want to work for you. Like whatever you have, like I'll do it. This is what I want to do. And I worked for the games for 5 years. And then that kind of took my career off, you know, like sports.
That's amazing. That's absolutely incredible. And I think it's a great message for athletes in two ways, is that no matter what age you are, you've got to think about the future and thinking about post-athletics. And that's the biggest thing that I know I plan for this Olympics to be my last one as well. And so this time for me was going to be the time where I was going to start reaching out to people and be like, I can start work September 1st. Like as soon as this is done. And now it's like a shift, but you do have to think about it, because a lot of people, right now, I get it right now. Oh, what are you going to do after the Olympics? This is before I had even said I was going to retire. I was like, can you give me a minute? Because I'm trying to figure it out. Like,
can you just like hold up? Like
can I get through the next Olympics? Like, and that's the thing. It's like, as we go through these meets and as we go to these games and everything like that, it's good to meet people, network, because you never know what's going to happen.
Completely. And like, I think it's like, you know, coaches always say it too. And like, so it's a little like the coaches don't necessarily want you thinking too far in the future. No. You know what I mean? Like they want you to be like,
of course,
totally fair. Like I was a coach too. Like I get it. I want my athletes to be super focused on like their goals now.
Yeah.
But I think every athlete needs to be aware, like just saying you want to work in sport, right? Like people say that all the time. They're like, I was an athlete, so like I can work in sport.
Yeah.
Okay. But like, what do you like?
Doing what?
Yeah. What do you want? Like, what do you like? Like, what are you drawn to? Like, what are your skill sets? Like, it's exactly how we would approach like our career in sport. It's like how we need to be thinking about like our career, because and play with your strengths, right? Which is why I love so much that you're like doing these lives, because so you have such a huge energy and presence.
Oh, thanks.
And it's so great to like see you every day, and I'm just like.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, because
it's something that
not a different outlet now too, right?
Yes. Yeah. And that's all it is. And I think what happens is my husband actually, when I told him I was going to retire after the Olympics, he bought me a book that one of his friends wrote about retirement. Can you want to get it for me? Yeah. Because he literally, there are two authors, and they went and they said, we wanted to write a book for athletes, because everything is about like their own person, like somebody else's journey, and that's not everybody's journey. So what they did was, it says right on it says the transition playbook for athletes.
Really cool.
They interviewed 100+ athletes and 25 Olympians, and so I read it, and it's not like novels. It's literally, they asked every athlete 25 questions, and the best answers that they gave that's all they focused on. Like if it's only 5 questions that they answered, and that was the biggest thing. It's, don't think about your career as like this lax thing. You have to work as hard for your career as you did in sport. If you take that into your career, you'll be successful. And for me, again, closed mouths don't get fed. So when I'm going into this, I'm like, I'm going to ask everyone. And one of the women that I asked, she's on ESPN. And she reached back out to me, and I'm like, great. And yes, I'm scared because a professional is, going to be on my show. They all
start somewhere. Everybody
yes.
Starts somewhere,
and so for me, as much as I'm dedicated and I'm focused, I do realize that I do have to put a little bit of a focus into my career, because this is what's going to take me for the next 25 years, or I'm hoping. And you've done a great job transitioning. You've done a great job promoting that you can be an Olympian, you can be successful, and you can become an author. You can become a motivational speaker, and you can become exactly what you want to. You just have to be more confident and work as hard.
Yeah, you have to have a plan. Like you said it, right? It's like you can't just like expect things to just like come your way. Like right? Like and I know everybody knows that, right? Like, but you really have to, like, just because you go to the Olympics, like for me, I knew like my sport, like it's an Eastern European dominated sport.
Yeah.
The likelihood of me getting a medal at the Olympics was like, not that high. I was in the top 10 in the world, but like to get a medal at the Olympics and with an injury, right?
Yeah.
And I knew, like, coming out, like there's thousands of Olympians. There's incredible athletes with so many different backgrounds, so many different skill sets. So it's like, okay, what differentiates me? How am I going to go after what I want? Leveraging what I've learned through sport, leveraging my career, the networking opportunities, the opportunity to public speak, and like look at where my strengths were. And then, like you said, just go after them like as hard as you would.
Yeah.
When, if you were an athlete trying to qualify for nationals, the Olympics, whatever your goal is, right? So I think it's just like motivation. Like people are drawn to energy. They're drawn to like your will to work hard, to learn. And I think that's the biggest thing that sport taught me was just like, we're not perfect creatures. Like nobody is perfect. No matter what anyone says, nobody's perfect. I don't even know what perfect means. I like hate that word. I don't even know.
Because it's unattainable. It's unattainable with anything.
And like for everybody, it's like so subjective. Like what is, so for I would say, like you come out and you just like, you have to be open and willing to learn and make mistakes, especially as an athlete coming into a workplace. Like that's not our comfort zone. Oh my gosh. The first time I was in an office, I was like terrified. Like I didn't know how to do anything, like let alone like programs, computer programs, all of it. Like, total fish out of the water. But like, I just, you go in and confidently, you ask questions, you have the willingness to learn and be able to be led. And I think a lot of athletes do that so well because it's just like inherent in us that like we want to be better. Okay, tell me how to get better. I'm gonna do it. Right?
And we're gonna do it.
We'll
definitely do it. That is not the problem. How long do you feel? Because I remember I went to the bank and I was just opening up like a checking account or something, and I was talking to the guy, and he was a baseball player, and he literally was like, give yourself 6 months for you to truly realize that you have to show up to this same office every single day.
Only 6 months? Only 6?
He said 6 months. How long did it take you to adjust?
Oh, man. Longer than 6 months. I actually I saw a coworker of mine and a Paralympic medalist, Chelsea Gotel, just join us below.
Okay.
And she's probably laughing because we would have these coffee chats at the office about like, wow, like this is so difficult for us. Like this is, because it's just, the office environment is just so different. Sitting all day, sitting in front of a screen all day. So not to say that everybody is going to go out and get a job like that. But if that's what we wanted to do, like I want to be in marketing, I want to learn, like
you have to.
Big part of my job is like meetings, sitting in front of a screen, like learning from people. So it was a challenge. I would say I'm still transitioning even 10 years. Honestly, it's like over 10 years now, but I'm like, I'm it's closer to 12. It's closer to 12. But
we can stick with 10. 10 is a good logistic number.
It's fine. The light looks good.
No, you look fabulous. You look so blessed. You better stop, girl. You better go ahead. I bet you everybody's like, damn, I want to look like that good after 10 years after being retired.
But I feel like I transition, like it's just phases. It's just phases.
Okay.
Like I honest to God, I was watching The Last Dance. I'm a huge basketball fan. Like if I wasn't, if I had the right like body, that's what I would have played for sure.
Awesome.
And I was watching The Last Dance, like huge Chicago Bulls, obviously Michael Jordan fan.
Yes.
And I literally turned to my husband last night and was just like, okay, like I need to compete. What are we gonna do? We have to find something. We have to, because I'm still so competitive, and so it's just like, I don't think that ever.
I don't think it leaves you.
No matter like if you're retired or not, like it just doesn't leave you. I was laughing so hard. I was like, what could I possibly do?
It's true though. I feel the same way. Like obviously I plan on retiring in 2021, And then I was talking to Lolo Jones at a meet in Boston, and she was like, oh yeah, like, you know, I'm getting in shape for the Winter Olympics because now they're having like mono sled or mono bobsled. And I was like, oh, well, Antigua doesn't have any female Winter Olympians.
You're like, let me try to.
Maybe I should just learn how to bobsled. So my husband and I like researched it. We were like, oh, like we just go to Lake Placid and like do all these things because it just never dies. Like even when we play flip cup or like beer pong, I'm so into it. I'm like, I gotta strategize. I gotta get better.
That will never leave you. That's like that's like, I just look at this now as a positive thing. You know, it's like hyper competitiveness. I'm like, that's just the way that we are, and it's just a positive. It's a strength.
It is. It's a strength. I truly believe that it's a strength that just carries us through.
Yeah.
So, but again, for those of you guys who are just joining me, so Alexandra, if you don't know, a lot of people watch because they're doing stuff or they have work, which I'm not familiar with. They watch it afterwards. So I'm joined with Alexandra Orlando, who is the creative marketing director at PanAm Sports, 5-time national champion and Olympian for Canada in rhythmic gymnastics. I don't say this word, like these two words ever.
Nobody does. I mean, it's so funny. It's like, I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is about it, but like literally everybody does it.
I literally trip over rhythmic. I'm like, what is wrong with me?
Rhythmic gymnastics. Rhythmic gymnastics.
Now, I do have to ask, obviously, how did you get, I mean, I don't want it to be like too much like repetitive because I'm sure people have asked you, but how did you get into rhythmic gymnastics? It was not offered in my school.
No. And like, trust me, like my parents are like immigrants from Italy. They'd never heard of the sport ever in their life.
Oh, wow. Okay.
It was basically a fluke. My sister, I have an older sister, Victoria. Super athletic, but doesn't like to compete. So like completely different. I feel like she had like the natural talent, but didn't like to compete. And then I like worked and like grinded to like be good. She was just like naturally, but I love to compete. So I had like a different edge. So she was actually in ballet. So I was like, I was younger, I was a baby, so I wanted to do ballet just like her. And I was a terror. Like they kicked me out of ballet class at like 5. And then they told my mother, put me in gymnastics because like I have way more energy. I like bounce around, like you run a lot. And it just
and it's good for her to focus that kind of like aggression.
Whoever that person was, and I actually don't know who they are, but like that person was solely responsible for me going to gymnastics because there was a class next door and it happened to be rhythmic gymnastics, which my mom didn't know what that was, which was fine. Neither did I. And they like put me in these like Saturday morning classes, and I don't know, it just like called to me. Like I fell in love with it. And it includes,
that's awesome.
It's such an aesthetic sport. Like any sports like synchronized swimming, like figure skating, music is such a huge component. And I think that's like what I love because we compete with music. And that was like that extra layer for me that I think I was like, whoa, like this is like super creative and sporty. I was like, yes.
Oh, that's awesome.
And
that's so incredible because I mean, I when I was working with my former coach, it was his high jump area was connected to like a gymnastics and like a competitive cheerleading. Yeah. So when I see these girls and I'm like, damn, how did y'all find this? But I guess that's what happens. Like your sibling gets into it and all kind of stuff, and it just kind of it's like a kismet. Like it just kind of happens naturally and it works.
Yeah, and if you love it, and if you love it, right? Like you just want to like keep going back. So I like beg my parents. I'm like, take me, and then
good.
Like kind of fell into it. But yeah, it's not like the most well-known sport. It's definitely like one of the more obscure ones.
But it is, but it's kind of like what's the thing curling. Like
very
Canadian.
Curling is like a Canadian. That's like if it's not hockey. Actually, at PanAm we say like ice hockey because hockey is field hockey.
Yes.
Sorry for all the Canadians watching.
Yes,
it is. If it wasn't for ice hockey, curling is like one of our like most popular.
Really? Oh man.
Yes.
But it's really popular in the U.S. But just for like nobody knows the rules. No one knows what's happening, but we have to watch. It is so intriguing.
Oh, it's a blast. It's such a blast. And if you actually play, it's like so strategic. Anyway,
Yes,
not to
same thing
totally
with rhythmic gymnastics.
Yeah.
I have no idea how you're being graded, how you're being scored, what is the most important thing, but you can't look away because it's so, you're just like, oh my God. And the like rhythmic gymnastics has the ball, right? Some of them have the ball. I'm like, there ain't no way she gonna catch that. Oh, she just got it. Like
the best. Yeah, the best is like for me now being retired, like when I go to a competition or I go to a games like at PanAm Games in Lima last year, like even the Olympics, and I sit with people that don't really know a lot about it, and then I'm like telling them and like hearing their reactions and like watching them as they like watch. It is like literally makes my life. It makes me so happy. It makes me
it's amazing. The makeup, the costumes, the music. I'm literally like, oh no, there's no way. Oh, she did it. There she goes again. Like
this is what we think about your sport. Like everybody's just like, it's like so nerve wracking when I'm watching. Oh my God. And you think you've cleared the bar.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you're just like,
yeah, you just never. I love hearing people at track meets. I think that's like the commentary that needs to be like behind the scenes. I would love that.
No, we'll do commentary. This is the thing. We'll just start. All the former athletes will start doing all the commentary on this.
Yeah, behind the scenes. Like, what do you think's happening?
Hey guys. Hi, Roger.
Hello, guys. But I'm so sorry. It's already at 28 minutes, and we've really been having amazing conversations.
I have time. Sorry, I talk a lot.
Oh no, I love that. I'm just like, I love when I have guests and they can like answer the question fully, and rather than just being like, "Yep," and I'm just like, okay, on to the next question, I guess. But no, I wanted to have, I always want these to be a conversation. I want you to be relaxed and chill. That's why it's grabbing a drink. So that's the whole thing.
My coffee.
And now switching a little bit of the focus is obviously I follow you on Instagram and I love your Instagram account. You're like a life and fitness like personality. And I feel like you need to be like Instagram famous for your like posts. They're just so fabulously well done, all the pictures, and it just looks like you're just living your best life. So I have to ask, is it on purpose that you do these things? Like, is it like your husband? Like,
oh, he's such a good photographer. I have to give Mark a little bit of a shout out. He's like he's my number one.
Girl, I asked my husband to take a picture. It is the worst picture of my life, okay? And then I show him I was like, I bet you her husband takes these pictures. He's like, well, I don't know what she's doing. I'm like, dude, I'm like, just take a good picture. You see me with the angles. You see me trying. So I'm going to give kudos to your husband because he's killing the game.
He's killing it. But you know what's funny with Instagram is like, I just love the platform so much. Not because I work so much in it, because I do. Like on the marketing side, it's like we have to know the ins and outs of all the social media platforms. But I've always gravitated towards it because I feel like if I wasn't in marketing, I would have been a graphic designer. I almost feel like I miss maybe a little bit of a calling, which is not too late. I can still
do it.
I still do it. But I feel like I use it for like a total creative outlet. Like really, it's really for me and then for you share and impact other people through. Like I love that now I'm like meeting, connecting with businesses from all over the world, people like wicked people doing amazing things in all different industries. And I feel like that's all through like this tiny little app on our phones that we spend probably way too much time on. But I find that it's, for me, the aesthetic is fun. Like it's not like I'm not an influencer by any means. Like I don't make a career out of it. You
should be.
I know. But
you are fabulous. You are beautiful. I think you should be an influencer. You influence me. I'm about to make you influence my husband.
But I just want to like impact people. Like I want people to smile. Like I want people to see a photo. Like I mean, we have an opportunity if you're fortunate to travel, if you're for work or for your sport career, or whatever. Like we're meeting people, we're seeing all these incredible things. And so for me, like I feel like I want to share all of that. Like I'm fortunate to be able to see and do these things. Like I want to share that with the world and like put out more like positive energy. Cause I feel like, you know, it's really easy to get down on yourself, down on like the state of the world and like sink into the negativity. Like, and
yeah.
and I'm like my own worst enemy. Like I go right into my head and I can pull myself down. And I used to do it in gymnastics, and still 12 years later, I still find myself in those moments. And for me, being able to just like put out into the universe a little bit more like love, a little bit more light, something like with good energy, good vibes. Like honestly, that's what I look for. Like when I follow people, I look for genuine, authentic people who are sharing their truth, speaking their truths like you're doing. And I feel like we just gravitate towards people that in each other, especially like when we need it the most. And honestly, like it's fun for me. It's like that like creative, it's like that little bit of that creative outlet. And so I'm like learning, like actually like Mark, my husband, like he's getting into photography. Before I did not influence him, but he's like learning and actually like getting like, it's so cool for me to see him like find a new passion. He was an athlete himself. Like he was a canoe kayak athlete for Canada.
Oh, wow.
To see him like use photography as a creative outlet then just inspires me to learn more about like photo editing and all this like, cool stuff that I'm doing now like for Instagram. So I feel like it can be really fun. It can be really positive. I mean, there's a lot of crap out there as well. Yeah. But if you see it, if you take it in and see it as a positive, I think it's a blast. Like, honestly, I love it.
And I'm a big believer in be the change that you want to see. And if you can be that light and I think that's amazing. And if you're starting that, I love that because I definitely received that from your page. Absolutely. Every time I'm on it, it's so fabulous. And it's not like, I think the biggest thing is like, you're not like forcing anything. You're not trying. It's just like you living your best life. You're just like, this is me. This is how it is. And I'm enjoying my life, and I love it. I love that you promote positivity within your marriage. I love that. We do, my husband and I do a little thing every like Friday night just to be like goofy, talking about interracial marriage and stuff like that.
You guys are amazing. I love that. I gotta get Mark more on camera. He's more of like the like cool, like smooth guy behind the camera, but like I'm gonna try. I'm like working on it.
He's a dork. He's such a big dork. And so I definitely, and we love it. We love the genuine, just positivity, and we just like to be geeky and dorky together. And so I love that you guys are another couple that are just positive, loving, and support each other and help each other grow. Yeah. And I absolutely thank you so much for being that light. I'm going to wrap this up almost. Yeah. Can you tell me a little bit about this? I know. I'm like, girl, we're about to be up in here forever. I know you have another meeting, but I just wanted to ask, tell me about your book. I'm about to buy it. So just so you know, because I want to read it. Tell me about the book and how it came about.
So the book, oh man. So Breaking Through My Limits. So it's an Olympian uncovered. I mentioned a little bit earlier for anyone who joined a little bit later, like I retired like really young after a pretty like severe injury at like around 21. And I felt like compelled, like I could feel it in my stomach that like I needed to share my story because a big part not only of my like career and battling back from injuries and dealing with all of that was that I battled with eating disorders for most of my like teens. And I came out of sport and I felt like I needed to share it to then hopefully help other people, young men, young women, whatever sport, like everybody. I find that like at the time it was more of like a taboo topic to talk about, especially in gymnastics. Like this wasn't something like common. And even for myself, like I could barely even say eating disorder. Like I used to just say, oh, I have like this a little bit, like I have like issues with eating. First it was just issues, then I have disordered eating, but I would like never say the words. And I feel like it took me a really long time to be able to process that and get to a healthy place. And I knew that I needed to like write this. So I wrote it, I was like 22. It got published at 23. Definitely looking back, I like laugh, cry, cringe a little bit when I read it. Like I went like full out, like, you want to know something about me? Like, let me tell you about it. Like, and I was really proud of it because part of it was like a healing process for me. Yes. And that was something for me to cope with how my career ended, not how I wanted. Like, it was not like a fairy tale story at all. I, was really unhealthy for a long time. Like, I fell out of love with myself.
Yeah.
I needed that process of writing and journaling and speaking my truth to be able to, like, even start to think about recovering and healing. And so you'll see, like, if anybody reads it, I would actually love to write another one, because I feel like now I'm in a different phase. Like, I'm 23.
Exactly.
I'm like,
you are in a completely
I'm 33. I'm like 33 now. Okay. So I feel like when I look back and I look about, like, how I wrote about my relationships with my coach or with my mom or with boys or this and that. And I say boys because I was a baby and they were the babies.
Yeah, they were. So, anything 21 before, they're all boys. Yeah.
I look back and go, wow, like, I've even, like, that was a big step for my journey. Now I'm, like, looking to, like, another step and looking forward to, like, a different phase. So, I mean, let me know if you read it. Like, let me know what you think.
I am. I'm definitely going to read it. I think it's really important. And I'm so glad that you said it was, like, a healing. It was, like, that final, like, it was, like, the goodbye, in a sense, to your, your athletic career.
Yeah, totally.
And it was funny because I'm thinking about doing the same thing in a sense. I'm not a writer at all, so I definitely would want like a mini series to, like, just talk about it and, like, get interviewed, because I'm not a great writer, but I know visually that's what I do.
Yeah, like, you can tell your story. You can tell your story in whatever way you want to tell your story.
Yes.
Right.
And I think that everybody, and it's crazy because the common theme from every single athlete, female, that I've spoken to and interviewed is some kind of relationship with food.
Interesting.
And their body image. And it's something that I'm actually extremely surprised that it's across every single female that I've spoken with. That is something that is, and they're so private about it.
It makes me sad, because I go, like, and these are just in sport. Then when you think of, like, outside of sport, you think about, like, just women, young women. I know we always talk about women, but I do want to say men, because it's even more taboo for men to talk about their issues with eating. But I feel like for me, I've been so proud to see, like, the body positivity movement and over the last couple of years. And we have so many incredible, like, spokesmen, champions of like acceptance. It's more like, for me, like, as I said, I, like, didn't love myself. And that was partly because of, like, the physical aspect and what I looked like. But that was really from sport, really kind of, like, trying, like, to find this, like, perfection. And I feel like
there's that word again.
Yeah. Like, I put it on myself to, like, look the right way, whatever that meant. Like, now I don't even it can be so many things for so many young women. Like, when I speak to them now, like, it's the, like, infamous, it used to be, like, the thigh gap, and now it's like, I want the lips, or I want the waist, like, the tiny waist. And I'm just going, like, you know what, it's like, there's so much beauty in everyone, and all of our shapes and sizes, no matter, like, I don't even want to call them imperfections, because they're not.
They're not.
It's like that narrative is so wrong to me. Like, it's so negative to be like, oh, like, you know what, I may not look like that, but, like, I love my imperfections.
Yes.
I have a problem with that. Like, I know when people say that, they're trying to be positive.
Yes.
But for me, it's like, they're not imperfections. Like, this is
you. This is exactly who you are. And one of the things that Kelsey, she's another Canadian pole vaulter. Yes, I was saying something when I met her in Paris, and she was like,
hey, Jeff,
excuse me. Oh no, I saw Jeff. Hey Jeff, what's going on, boo? We're at the end of our conversation, so you're gonna have to loop back with that, boo.
Or ask a good question, like.
I said something negative about myself, and she was like, please don't talk about my friends that way. And I was like, I love that. So I've been doing that. So as soon as a woman starts speaking negative about herself, I'm like, please don't speak about my friends.
I love that.
It was so empowering in that moment. But I do love that it's a new day in this lifetime, and I love that it's new in sport. But rather than breaking down, and I always say this because so many people would call me like, oh, you look like Serena Williams, and I would get so offended because back in the day, all they did was criticize Serena Williams. They never focused on her amazing talent. They focused on what she looked like. And for me, I was just like, this is who I am. And as a high jumper, you know, we're supposed to look a certain way.
Yeah, of course.
You're
you know, yeah, it's like similar. I was supposed to look like a ballerina. I have never in my life will ever look like a ballerina.
Yeah, never have I ever looked like a high jumper. For me, I was always in shape. I always had an athletic body, but the high jumpers were always thinner and taller than I was. But that never scared me. That never deterred me from what I wanted to do. And so that's why I want to read your book, because I want to get in the mind of what it was like to be a 21-year-old Olympian. You know what I mean? And it's when you look back, I mean, I look back at my experiences and I was like, oh my God. Because I was engaged. I had a whole nother life, and I was like,
yeah.
wow.
I just wish that I could have just seen like how strong, like what a badass I was. Cause I think I really did, even though I would like had my armor on and I was like this like warrior woman when I like went to compete. Cause I was different. Like I was more muscular. I was bigger. Like, like I looked different, but like it didn't stop me from like finding my strength. So if I was going to be stronger, I was going to be faster. Or
that's it.
More dynamic. Or I was gonna jump higher. Like, so I just like found my niche and was like, okay, this is who I am. Like,
and that's it. You better accept me the way I am, and I'm still kicking ass, and I'm still doing what I need to do. Jeff, thank you so much. Jeff is just complimenting us in the comments, and I absolutely love it.
Like the three of us on
I know. I wish Instagram or Facebook could have it. They don't have it yet.
That's annoying.
They just started like saving these lives. So the one that I did with Janelle.
Facebook.
Look, don't worry. The email's already being written. I'm trying to have a whole conversation and I have a whole group chat. But I thank you so much for being with me today and speaking your truth. You look phenomenal. I love your story. I'm so glad I got to find out more about you finally.
Thank
and
you
definitely
I know.
Don't let this be the last time. I definitely want to have you back on again. Once things get lifted, I definitely think so. But thank you so much for being here with me. I absolutely loved it. It was phenomenal. And now to the moment that every guest waits for is Ken's Corner with my husband, Ken.
Hi.
This is Alexandra.
Nice to meet you.
I definitely am so excited because this is the first time you guys are meeting. And Ken is my husband, and he always has a random question to ask. So, Ken, what is your question?
What's up, Jeff? Appreciate the comment.
Oh, God.
I know. He's
Don't boost his ego. It's too much already.
All right. So, would you rather go 1 year without pizza or only be able to eat pizza for a year?
Oh my God, that's so hard. I'm Italian. Did you know
Why
I'm Italian?
That's
like the hardest question. Okay, I would say I would go without pizza for a whole year if I could just eat it for the rest of my life.
Wow.
Yeah.
I don't think that's a tough call. I think that's honestly very true because you eat it every day, then you're kind of going to get sick of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, pepperoni, you got plain, you got sausage, buffalo chicken. There's options. Sicilian.
You don't understand. There are 300. What is she going to have on Christmas? What would she eat on Christmas?
Ham.
Oh, my. And Easter?
And pineapple.
Ham.
Exactly.
That's like the best. What did you ask Alien? I want to know. She's saying.
What did you ask? Yeah, what did you ask? What did you ask Alien?
I don't know.
Oh, the zebra question.
The zebra.
The zebra question.
Are zebras white with black stripes or black with white stripes?
So initially I was going to say like black with white stripes. But is there like a right answer for this or not?
No, I don't know, but she said they were white with black stripes. I'm pretty sure that was her answer.
That hers was the opposite of mine? Oh, interesting. Okay,
see, I'm telling you.
I like your questions.
See, everyone's faces are always the same, all the time. And he asked my coach, my former strength and conditioning coach, about like Stallone as Rocky, Rambo versus Schwarzenegger in Predator.
Oh God, Rambo! Are you kidding me? Rambo, 1,000%.
See, everyone says Rambo too.
That's like not even a question. Are we kidding?
And everyone somebody said, they were like, Ken's corner needs to be longer. And I was like, well, Ken can start his own show.
We're extending it now. We've already blown past the 20-minute mark. So
I feel so bad because I tell people, and so Allianz said she watched Rainbow last night. Oh my gosh. So like I tell people that like we are working on it. I wanted to have like an actual hour-long show with once Facebook and Instagram can add people, like more people, we would do it like this, like an interview and have like guests, and then Ken's corner.
You know what? I'm totally gonna like, now we're like talking business and you're trying to but we could totally do this. You just like line up all the guests. You just need a producer on your live chat.
That's all I need. Oh my God, girl, you have no idea. I started this and I literally was on the couch and I was like, I want to do this. And I started like messaging people just like I messaged you, and I changed it up. And when it comes to like, I've written out to Kevin Hart and, you know, like really like, you know, celebrities and people that I know. And
Jeff is in. Obviously,
yes, I definitely like, because I love doing it. I have my third week of May. I only need one more guest to complete it. So my third week of May. Oh my God,
you're amazing.
And again, I'm just literally just being, this is it. Like I curse, I drink, I do whatever, and but producing this has been, I'm like, how do these people get like the clapping? And then I got to get the info. I'm writing the questions. I'm doing my own makeup, my hair. I'm like, oh my God.
That's like the least of your worries. The least of your worries is the makeup and the hair. It's always on point. Always on point.
Thank you. I'm trying as hard as I possibly can. But yes, we can definitely talk more if you'd like. If we can definitely work together, I would love it. It'd be fabulous. But yes, my ultimate goal is to have a television show and be able to be the host of it, and that would make those are my dreams. So
I'm a big fan. I'm a big supporter.
Thank you. I appreciate it. But thank you again so much for being on. I'm so glad you're safe. Please give your family all my love, and I definitely will make sure that we get this television show up and running.
Yes, we will. I'm already brainstorming, but thank you.
Yes, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
And stay safe. Send my love to Ken and the rest of your family.
Thank you so much.
We'll be in touch soon.
Yes. I'll talk to you soon. Thank you so much, sweetie. Bye. Guys, thank you so much. What a friggin' phenomenal show with Alexandra. I absolutely love her, and I'm so glad I got to find out more about her and her journey. I'm definitely going to read her book, so I definitely will do a review on that. Tomorrow, I am so excited. I have Whitney Ashley, the USA discus thrower. She's now a TikTok phenom. Her TikToks are absolutely hilarious, and I can't wait to interview her. So I will talk to you guys tomorrow. Enjoy. Stay safe. Love you guys.